Alright, hey, what's going on guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we have another VOD review, and we're coming at you with a Souless VOD review. Souless, an NA player, challenger, very high skill level, and today we will be seeing how he plays a Fast 9 composition. So without further ado, let's get into this video. I also want to just add, thank you guys so much for the support, and if you want to show more support for this channel, I would very much appreciate it if you like, comment, subscribe. It helps with the YouTube algorithm. I'm trying to get part of that YouTube partner program. And before that, if you do want to help out the channel by donating, I do have a donate link in the description, but you do not have to. Your views are good enough. So as we see here, we already see a Bastion set up with some backline with our Kindred and our Cogmore. So potentially maybe looking for a Vanguard reroll comp or even the Cogmore reroll comp. So looking here already, we do have an AD line with IE, potentially a Sterex, but I think IE is probably better in this case because it does flex into mini comps. We do also have a guard breaker, which is also nice. Well, I mean, stride breaker, which is the new version of it. So that we can have the sword left over for another AD item potentially. I don't think it's Titanic Titan because we don't really have a cipher angle for this position. We only have, I think, one Vi. I don't think it's over encumbered because we do have so many pairs, and I don't think it is over encumbered. I think it could be potentially Silver Spoon just to play around tempo potentially and win out, but we'll see if we reroll Titanic Titan first. So crafted item, this is good for rerolling, but I don't think we're locked into a reroll comp because we actually don't have any set angle. So I don't think it's crafted. Crafting. Team building, again, not rerolling, so I don't think it's team building. I think it might actually just be Silver Spoon. Although we do have so many pairs, yeah, we take Silver Spoon, and we end up trying to play around a win streak because it is Silver Augments. So if we do a quick scout of the lobby, we'll try to see who we can beat out. So we're coming across a player with a 2-starred Zyra, so we do opt to slam some items to try and win out this round. They do have caretakers, so they do have an item coming their way, I think. Once they hit, oh yeah, they haven't hit level 3. So, I mean, they haven't hit level 4, so they do end up not getting value out of that. So interesting that they opted to slam items, probably just opted to slam items to preserve HP, not dedicating themselves to a loss or a win streak at the moment because it hasn't presented itself. But we get the win from that round nonetheless. Move on to the next round, we come across a person who is definitely trying to force out the Morgana reroll comp because they do have 4 Morganas. We end up winning that round. They also have table scrap, so they are looking to get some strength later on. Quick reset of their client. Looking at level 5 already, trying to win out this stage. We did get in the Kindred, I think, for the Marksman. So we are looking at Dynamo, Bastion, Marksman for the early game so far. And that fight did look a little close, but luckily we won out that round. Moving on to Carousel round. Now on the Carousel round, probably looking to find an item for that belt, maybe the glove for a stride breaker. Don't get the glove. Wanted that bow for a potential backline item. Makes a 2-starred Poppy. Yep, and it makes this Sunfire, so we make the Sunfire here to continue to win out these rounds because we get quite a lot of value on it from a 2-starred unit like Poppy, and in the early game it's pretty good just for extra damage to help us win these rounds. Come across this Cease and Desist Vi, where I think they're also trying to get Cypher in just to have that buff on the Vi. Looking like a close fight actually, but we do still end up winning by the skin of our teeth. Interesting. I don't know why the internet is lagging. Let's try to see if we can change that quality. Okay, we get the quality back up. So we're also trying to position correctly for this fight, which I think we end up doing. I don't think the Graves jumps to our backline. We do target the Graves first, which is what we wanted. But I think we may end up losing this round. It's very close. If only one more cast, but we do end up losing that round. But we still got a 4 streak out of this round. Oh, and we high roll an MF, so it is looking like we are playing for the Dynamo line, if not just for the next stage. But we are looking to be playing very flexibly. So already here we see we make the 40 gold, not choosing to hold on to these units here because we would only really get marksman to in. There's no point in holding this extra pair on the end here. Also not holding these units here because we no longer need any angle with these units. Opting to get 40 gold so we can get closer to that 50 gold threshold. Looking at our items here, we have even shroud for potential shred slam. We have a Nash's Tooth, I don't think it's going to be that. We also have a Kraken's slam, but I don't think it's Kraken's because with these units here, none of them really use Kraken's that well because Kraken scales off of attacks. So your attack, however many attacks you have, the stronger your attack damage. Okay, so sadly my recording cut out and I've actually already done this, so I'm going back to the most recent bit of this video where it didn't cut out, so I'm a little frustrated. But anyway, let's continue with the video breakdown. I did end up getting to around stage 4 or 5, so I know how this does end up going a little bit. But anyway, what I did end up saying was I believe that it's not going to be healing orbs or sated spell weaver in this spot because this doesn't really give us any value now or even later on in the game. I do believe it is forward thinking because we have a 2 loss streak already, so I think what would be best would be to go down the route of forward thinking and just play into the stage 4. Now I don't think it would be Epoch because Epoch it gives you similar value to forward thinking but not as much value as forward thinking. It gives you XP and a few rerolls at the start of each stage, but this looks like an augment we would take if we're in a little bit more of a stable spot with our board, but we are not because we are losing. It's not flatline because we also have Dynamo MF in this spot, and it'd be a bit awkward to pivot into the marksman line. So yeah, we opt to go with forward thinking and try to lose out the rest of these fights. Now, as I said already, the recording cut out, so I kind of know how these fights go. So we end up losing this fight with the Jax, the Adaptive Strikes player. And we also continue to lose this fight with this... actually, no, I believe we end up coming... Yeah, we end up coming out on top against this Dynamo Morgana player. So that ends our loss streak here, which is a little bit unfortunate, but we do get to the carousel round where I believe we pick up the MF with the sword. Yep. So we pick up the MF with the sword, potentially looking for the Giant Slayer Slam, which I'm pretty sure we end up slamming, but it's a bit unfortunate because we do end up losing to this Cypher player after the item slam. But it's okay because, I mean, the Cypher player, you know, we stop them from cashing out even larger. But flip-flopping throughout this stage, not really the most controllable thing considering we do have forward thinking, unless we really wanted to sack this. Opting to hold this Braum and this TF to potentially look for the Dynamo Syndicate angle. However, I believe that we do get online the Vex Urgot board with 5 cost, which is a fast 9 composition. So that is what we are angling towards, and we move on to the next creep round here. So after we get through this creep round, we get a few tank items and a rod. Don't think we're going to be using these items that much because, I mean, they are AP, and I think that this Giant's Belt was only going to be used for potentially a Warmost down the line. So we do get in the Slayer and Syndicate with this Shaco, and we are looking to try to minimize our loss before we move on to our augment round and before we cash out our forward thinking. So let's quick breakdown here. It's pretty straightforward. We get invested here. It's not Final Ascension or Blinding Speed because the angle we were angling towards was the fast 9 board anyway, and without invested we were probably looking to try and go to 8 and stabilize, but now that we hit invested it is looking to go to 9 instead. So what we do here is we level to 8 and we hold Econ 2 and wait till we go 9, and we get a few rerolls from sacking just one extra round here. I think from here we could, depending on the loss, we could lose 2 fights, but I think with tempo and everything, I don't think it would be a bit scary to lose 2 fights and be a bit risky. So I think what we do end up doing is we end up leveling to 9 here and trying to stabilize our board. So now let me slow this down for you so that we can see what the roll down is. So trying to just hit our 5 cost, we hit our Urgot and we hit our Viego, trying to hit the Vex and the Urgot as they are our backline units but also our front line, trying to also 2-star at least a couple 5 cost units so we can feel a little bit stable. However, just one will do. We hit a pair of Cobcos and we hit the Vex, so we no longer need the MF. Really trying to hit just at least one 2-starred 5 cost so we can be a little stable here. and we hit the Kobuko, but we do break the 30 gold threshold, so it will be a few rounds to make this back. So we could potentially be donkey rolling a little bit to stabilize if we lose the next round, but let us see how these fights go out. Now we come across this Urgot player as well, because they do have that training dummy with Executioner. However, we do have a 2-star Kobuko, which should be a stable enough frontline to win out this fight, hopefully. They do also have they had a Renekton, and they also had an Aurora on their board with a 2-star Elise, so they're not that weak. Very close to this end of the fight. Can we win out this fight? Oh, it's very close, but we do end up winning that fight. Now, moving on to the next carousel round here, really looking to try and get, I think, a frontline item for our Mr. Kobuko, because we do have that belt already on him, and we pick up the belt for the Warmogs for the Kobuko. What we do here, we opt to roll a bit. We hit a 2-star Renekton, so that stabilizes our front line just that little bit more. Rolling a little bit deeper to see if we can hit any other pair, and we do hit the Vex pair and the Garen pair. So we're not really playing greedily here. We have to just play any 5 costs that we do hit, and we do hit the Viego, which also gives us another frontline unit. So we're looking a little bit more stable here, and I feel a little bit more safe because we do have 3-starred. We do have a 2-star 5-cost unit in a Kobuko, in a Viego, and in a Renekton. So I think we are pretty stable in this spot, looking to try and hit any 2-star backline to cap out our board down the line. So now let's swap this back on over to 2x speed. And we end up winning this fight out. We also get another Vex in the Viego, so with the Brewas, so that's nice. We also have a 2-star Divine Chord, Morgana, so we can get that little bit of extra mana from Dynamo. Come across this Elise board, this Dynamo board as well, but this board looks extremely weak with only a Zac and a Renekton and a 2-star Elise in the backline, so we end up beating out that board as well. Moving on to this creep round here, we managed to hit frontline tank, backline attacker, or an RNG golem. I think our frontline is pretty stable at that point. I don't think we really need a we could take backline attacker, but we do have like 4 backline units, so it could either be backline attacker or potentially RNG golem. So yeah, I think either would be okay. So we hit the RNG golem with Flickerblade and Bastion and a Radiant Rabadons. Doesn't synergize too well with our comp, but it is what it is. We are basically playing sort of a spaghetti board, but we have a Urgot and Vex as the main core of the damage. Well, intended damage anyway. So now with that extra Bastion unit, maybe he's looking to get 4 Bastion online, opting to roll it down to stack up our Zac blobs and to try hit our 2-star Urgot, which we end up doing. And what do we do? Okay, we popped the anvil here, so it looks like we are opting to make the Kraken's Fury onto the Urgot, and I guess maybe some sort of AP item for Aurora. Oh no, we opt to make the Quicksilver and Rageblade, so we put the Rageblade onto the Urgot and a QSS for a 2-star Renekton instead of the 1-star Aurora to cap out our board even further. So moving on, I'm pretty sure we hit another Urgot from that shop. Yep, we hit another Urgot from that shop. Looking to potentially just stay 9, I think, instead of go to 10 and try to hit more 2-star units. Because we do have this Aurora in, I think we try to 2-star our Zac to try and get in another 5-cost unit with the Aurora ability. Come across a cease and desist Vi that we managed to get our revenge on and beat out. Looking in a nice spot so far. Honestly, with the amount of wins that we are coming across, it could potentially just be going to 10 if we get that a little bit extra greedy. But we do manage to come across this player here with a Slayer comp with, I think that is a 3-star Senna in the backline with a Jarvan in the front line who is tanking up a Storm here. And we do end up losing this fight, so I don't think it is going to be a level 10 board for us. I think it will be stabilizing at level 9. Managing to secure the Stride Breaker here, I think it's just for the Renekton at this point. Rolling it down to try and hit that 2-star Zac and to get that many blobs online. Opting to take out, I believe it was the 4 Bastion, because I think the Zac is just going to have so much more HP than the 4 Bastion would be giving us worth. And we also have hit that Aurora 2-starred, so we can also try to play for another 2-starred 5 cost, potentially this Garen, but we did miss the Garen. We hit the 2-star Zac. Maybe the angle is actually play for the Renekton, the Urgot 3. And we opt to item remove the Kobuko and put it onto the Zac instead as the better frontline unit, because Kobuko is more of the fighter unit now because of his changes from the past few patches. He does get off his ultimate ability without having to have any items anyway. Trying to look for that extra 2-star unit here, and we do not end up hitting it, but we do stack up the blobs. So I think the win con is just keep stacking the blobs while holding the Urgots, because I think the other Urgot player, well, here he is. Yep, so if we can knock out this Urgot player, Urgot 3 angle could potentially be on the board for us, and we do end up beating them. Do we send them out? We do end up sending them out of the game, securing us the top 4, potential top 3. No, okay, it's a top 4. Coming on to this creep round here, moving on, trying to see what we get here. Selling the Yuumi, selling the Sejuani, but pick up the Aurora. Do get a lot of econ, a quick scout of the lobby to see what 5 costs are out of the pool. So I think we are looking to sell to try and potentially hit the Urgot 3. So now looking at the items here, we have an Infinity Edge, Archangel Staff, Even Shroud, Steadfast Heart, and a Spirit Shoujin. I think it's just a Spirit Shoujin to go onto the Aurora, or maybe the Infinity Edge for the Renekton, or maybe even a Steadfast just to keep him alive a little bit longer. So let's see what we end up going with here. Okay, he opts to actually item remove the Renekton to put on to the other 2-star Urgot in the backline, which actually, now that I think about it, I think that does make it quite a little bit more sense, because the other Urgot is our main damage carry, and I think he's benefiting a bit more from the Executioner, whereas our Renekton is just mainly a tank for us to keep the Urgots alive in the backline. But we do come across the Slayer player once again, and we do end up winning out this round. So very nice itemization from Souless to itemize the other 2-star Urgot here, and now we are 2 Urgots off of a 3-star Urgot, and no one has any other Urgot, so we are still trying to roll it down here, picking up Zacs as well. We have 5 Zacs. Scouting the board once again, trying to see if we can hit any other 5-cost units. Your whole board is bugged, bro. That is quite it is quite a cracked board that he has. Coming across this fight here again, looking very nice and strong, beating out this board, sending them to 3rd place. Now, still opting to roll down here to try find these 5 costs before anyone else holds them. And it looks like this King player is the only other player that could be holding the units. So, potentially, Urgot 3 on the board, coming across them now. Very strong Slayer board, honestly, that they've ended up playing. Looking actually pretty close. But our Urgot and our Zac ends up winning out this round for us. Pick up the Aurora to thin out the pool that little bit more. There is a Zac on the carousel that we want to pick up here, but I think we opt to go for the Renekton for the added item, so we don't sack, because we don't really put the Deathblade on anyone. I mean, the Deathblade could have potentially gone on the Urgot, but I think the Warmonks is pretty good. Still trying to roll it down to see if we can hit the Urgot, but we hit the Zac, which is pretty nice. So we are also looking at either Zac or Urgot, obviously with one extra Urgot than the Zac. We do have the option to sell the Kobuko, but I think the Souless, the King person, is also trying to play for the potential Garen 3. Beating out this King player. I wonder if we ever sell board if we get one extra Renekton, but we are winning still, so there's no real point, but it would be a fun play if we did end up doing that. Not hitting the Renekton here. The King player opting to swap sides for the Slayer to try and get, I think, some backline penetration from his units. which it looks like he found success in because it's very close, and he does end up beating us this time around. So now we are moving on to the creep round, our final creep round, looking like it looks like it's going to be the final creep round. We do have some farmed up items here that we can potentially be slamming to make us spike a little bit more, because that was a very close fight. But it could look like we are trying to shoot for that 3-star 5-cost unit. And we see in the chat to sell board, because, I mean, you want to see a very fun game of selling. I mean, you want to see the 3-star 5-cost. Come on, surely. But we do end up selling the Zac because I think we wanted to go for the Urgot instead. But I think with these added these added items, I think this board is strong enough to win against this player here. And I think if we do end up losing here, it is GG. We do have some backline damage going in, and we do end up beating the final player, going first without needing to sell the board for the first place. Alright, what a game from Souless TFT. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed, I would very much love a comment, subscribe, like button, anything like that. Appreciate you guys so much. I'll see you guys in the next one.